Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Krbox of the 3rd Game Division, and after a huge time away, cause, well, yeah, military service is still a thing, obligatory here in Switzerland, I am back! And I just found a gem on Kickstarter.com I would love to share with you. But before we talk about the actual project, let me tell you a little story. Vampires used once to be awesome. Like really evil people, bloodsuckers, and completely awesome. Then something happened. It still tastes awful. It's called Twilight. And suddenly, all those lovely little vampires became sporky and I mean, I think we heard enough rage about Twilight. So I also share a personal problem with Twilight. As when I was a child, we played a lot of a pen and paper RPG called Vampire The Masquerade. So, if you are familiar with Vampire The Masquerade, I think you will understand the pain I suffered from Twilight. But now, a new opportunity has arisen to bring back the real cruel and awesome vampires. By Night Studios, the official currently holder of the Dark Age franchise, which also includes Vampire the Masquerade, is bringing back the rulebook. So, what is Vampire the Masquerade exactly? We are writing currently the 20th century. All the big cities as we know them around the world do exist. Just with the slightly difference that vampires are actually a thing. The difference is just that normal people like you and I don't know that they live among us. And this whole progress of not being spotted by normal human being is called the Masquerade. Now, the Masquerade is not supported by everybody. In the whole Vampire the Masquerade universe, there are 3 main clans or groups, if you want to say it. They are called the Camarilla, who are highly supporting more or less the Masquerade. Then we got the Sabbath, who are like, well, why do we want to hide? Humans, they are merely our food. And then we got the clans who don't care at all about the Masquerade, but are also not like, well, humans are only here to be eaten. Now, within those different vampire clans, we have different vampire tribes. You didn't see that one coming, did you? Now, I want to be honest. As Vampire the Masquerade is not very familiar to Dungeons and Dragons, it is not as simple now just to go and tell you about different classes. As the classes are basically chosen by the vampire tribe you will be a member of. Just to give you a small impression, there is a vampire tribe called the Tremors who are very high skilled in magic. Or we got the Ventra who are highly skilled in politicians and are the leader more or less of the Camarilla group, the Camarilla clan. Then what you also have to keep in mind, even though the vampire tribes mainly support one very specific type of clan. So either the Camarilla, who are supporting the Masquerade, the Sabbath, who don't care about the Masquerade at all, and the independent clans, who don't care about either of the two things. They are also, of course, members of the tribes who support a very specific type of clan. Okay, now this is very abstract. For example, a Ventra, who is actually a highly supporter of the Camarilla, there might also be a chance that he is actually for the Sabbath. So he actually thinks that it's why do we care about this Masquerade at all? Let's just go and eat them. That's also possible. And that opens up to many different playthroughs. And just keep in mind there is a total of 13 different vampire tribes. So with all their own characteristics, and it's just like absolutely awesome. Now, I will just go quickly about the lore of Vampire the Masquerade. As I already said, the timeline is about the 20th century, so the time we currently live in. And one of the most things they are currently fear is basically the world end. As currently, a current problem the vampires have is that their lines are getting thinner and thinner. So, vampires are characteristics by their generation. So the first generation were the very, very first vampires ever born. And then whenever they make a new person to a vampire, it goes a generation onwards. So we go to the second, to the third, and the fourth, and so forth, and so on generation. And the problem they have encountered is, the further the generations are away from the first one, the weaker are the vampires. So they don't have the powers who they should actually possess if they are in this very specific vampire tribe. And it's all really set around this one. And depending on which side they are, so the Camarilla, the Sabbath, or Independent, they share different ideas how this can be solved. Also, what many vampires fear is that they are just merely peasants in a game of vampires from the first or second generation. As you may or may not know, even in Vampire the Masquerade, vampires are immortal, but they can die to the exposure of sunlight or fire. What I actually wanted to tell you when I mentioned the 13th main vampire tribes, they are several sub-tribes, several smaller tribes, vampire tribes, and this is like, it has an infinite possibilities. It is really so freaking awesome. And with this lore, with this idea that you may or may not be controlled by other vampires, and so exciting. We spent months just playing one freaking round. And also what we did back that day was, we created for ourselves several characters, also of different generations, and then we got, now what I also have to say, we had an awesome game master who was leading our pen and paper RPGs. And wow, it's just so awesome. And now the merely idea that By Night Studios is bringing back Vampire the Masquerade is so freaking awesome. Now you know a little bit more about the background of Vampire the Masquerade. So what are they now trying to achieve? This is really going to be a compendium, an encyclopedia of Vampire the Masquerade. There will be all main clans as well as the sub-clans of Vampire the Masquerade, or basically the Dark Realm, the Dark Age, will be included. There will be guides, how you can make a great story, how you, basically lead a pen and paper RPG. And then thirdly, we also got all the gimmicky stuff like full-colored art, pictures, how you can create NPCs. Well, we actually covered this by just creating more characters for us. And well, hell yeah, you like to play RPGs? You are not completely a douchebag who says pen and paper RPGs are stupid? Then come to the dark side. We got vampires. Now let us speak about the figures, okay? Minds a Theater, Vampire the Masquerade, started on May the 25th. With a pledge goal of $60,000. We currently have the 2nd of July, and we are already at $77,119 currently. And it will end on July the 9th, so we still have 37 days to go. As you see, this project is already funded. Now it's really like you time to jump in and also grab a book. Besides of that, they certainly also made a lot of scratch goals who are just, well, I wouldn't say that awesome. It basically, they will make you pins. And, well, yeah, clan pins, well, if you want to do this. But other than that, it's just like, you have the chance to get one of the most awesome pen and paper RPG rulebooks, and it's just like in one freaking book. I own several vampire books, Vampire The Masquerade books to be precise. This was basically like the rulebook for itself, then the different clan books, the different background story books, it's so many books, and you have the chance to get all of this in one thing. Now, for what should you go? If you are completely new to this pen and paper stuff, I highly recommend you to go at least for the softcore book version, which is set at $35. Now, if you are a person who really likes books and you actually think softcore books are blech, then you will have to pay a little bit more, because the hardcover book is set at $60. And if I might say that, I don't know how big this book is going to be, but personally, $60 is expensive, even for Swiss standards, I might add. Though it will probably include a lot and lots of information. For the rest of you who is already familiar with Vampire The Masquerade or already has books at home of it and doesn't care about books in general, well, then you will be fine with just $25, because then you will get the PDF version of the book and fully colored. So, that's me done for today. I thank you very much for watching this video, and stay tuned for more Kickstarter related content. My name has been Carbox of the 3rd Gaming Division, and stay tuned for more Kickstarter related content. Thank you very much for watching. One of the next things which are coming is probably beta game related content of Wacken Sky, an upcoming RPG. And other than that, please feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment if I should have been talking out of my ass. Then, well, yeah, Vampire The Masquerade, I have all that stuff in German. So, I have some translation issues here and there. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.